Greetings, eager students of the Force, and a warm welcome back to the hallowed halls of the archives. Today, we delve into a tantalizing question that has long sparked debate among scholars and enthusiasts alike. Could there have existed a Grandmaster in the annals of galactic history whose command of the Force surpassed even the venerable Yoda? A being whose very presence might have posed a challenge to the legendary power of Luke Skywalker himself? It is a widely accepted truth within Star Wars lore that the foundational understanding and raw potential of ancient Force wielders, whether they embrace the light or the dark, often eclipse that of their successors. These pioneers of the Force, delving into its untamed energies and profound mysteries, forged techniques and uncovered insights that, sadly, often vanished into the mists of time, leaving subsequent Jedi and Sith orders bereft of crucial wisdom and, arguably, less formidable. We frequently reflect on the awe-inspiring capabilities of these forgotten giants, comparing their rumored might to the most potent figures of contemporary history. Yet, one particular comparison gives us pause, sparking a robust discussion here at the archives. The formidable Nomi Sunrider and her standing against the wisdom and power of Grandmaster Yoda. Nomi Sunrider, a beacon of the ancient Jedi Order, ascended to the esteemed rank of Grandmaster in the aftermath of the devastating conflict with Exar Kun, her legend etched into the very fabric of the Force through the sheer magnitude of her abilities. The incredible feats she accomplished during that tumultuous era, particularly her unparalleled mastery of battle meditation that could turn the tide of entire engagements and inspire armies, coupled with her rare, devastating capacity to permanently sever individuals from the Force itself, remain unparalleled demonstrations of power that compel us to consider her true place among the greatest Force wielders of all time. The sheer scale of her accomplishments during her tenure as a Jedi Master has ignited a fervent debate, leading many to postulate that Nomi Sunrider's command of the Force might have even eclipsed that of the legendary Grandmaster Yoda himself. Such a profound claim, naturally, could not be left unexplored by our order. It became imperative for our most diligent researchers to delve into ancient scrolls, to meditate deeply on the shimmering threads of truth woven into the fabric of history. Today, we invite you to join us as we unlock the secrets held within a long-sealed holocron, seeking to definitively ascertain whether Nomi Sunrider truly stands as the most formidable Jedi Grandmaster to grace the Order before the advent of Luke Skywalker. For those perhaps unfamiliar with her extraordinary legacy, or simply in need of a refreshing of her story, let us quickly establish her origin. Nomi Sunrider began her journey not as a Jedi, but as the devoted wife of a revered Jedi Knight during the tumultuous era of the old Sith Wars, roughly 4,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. This was a time when the Jedi, less centralized and more deeply embedded within the wider galaxy, permitted their members to forge bonds of love and raise family. It was during one such seemingly mundane but crucial mission that Nomi, accompanied by her husband, found themselves at a bustling spaceport entrusted with the vital task of delivering a precious cache of raw kyber crystals to the Jedi Temple on Ossus. However, their peaceful journey was violently interrupted by a sudden ambush from ruthless thugs, their greed for the potent crystals overriding any sense of moral restraint. In a desperate heroic act of paternal love, her husband bravely gave his life, defending his family in a brutal and unprovoked attack. The immediate aftermath was a maelstrom of agony and primal rage that ripped through Nomi, an unspeakable grief that tore at the very fabric of her being. As her husband's life ebbed away in her arms amidst the chaos of the spaceport, a raw, untamed power surged within her, an unbidden response to the profound injustice and loss. It was in that crucible of despair that her latent connection to the Force, previously unfelt and unacknowledged, ignited with terrifying intensity. With the echoes of blaster fire still ringing in her ears and the warmth of her husband's blood on her hands, Nomi Sunrider experienced not just the horror of death, but the violent awakening of a Force sensitivity that would irrevocably alter her destiny and, indeed, the future of the Jedi Order itself. Her journey, steeped in sorrow, had only just begun. A crimson haze of raw, untamed rage consumed Nomi as her hand closed around the hilt of her fallen husband's lightsaber. The humming blade ignited, and with a primal scream, she unleashed a devastating tempest of Force energy, cutting down every single one of the thugs who had dared to cross her path with shocking, brutal efficiency. In the bloody aftermath, a shimmering, ethereal presence materialized before her, the spectral form of her beloved husband Kurth, his gentle urgency now a guiding light. He instructed her to journey to the verdant world of Ambria and seek out the venerable Jedi Master Thon, assuring her that there, her true path and formidable training would begin. Despite the profound terror, her own unleashed power had ignited within her, leading her to vow never again to wield such a weapon. Nomi honored her husband's spectral plea. With a heavy heart and lingering trepidation, she embarked for Ambria, submitting herself to the rigorous tutelage of Master Thon. Under his guidance, Nomi slowly, painfully, began to confront the depths of her fear, transforming raw, untamed potential into disciplined mastery. She learned to sculpt her extraordinarily potent connection to the Force, refining her inherently devastating abilities from a wild, destructive torrent into a precise, controlled instrument of light. Her unwavering resolve and honed prowess would ultimately propel the Jedi Knight Nomi Sunrider to a truly pivotal role in the galaxy-spanning inferno of the Great Sith War against the formidable Exar Kun. Indeed, it was Nomi herself who marshaled the collective strength of the entire Jedi Order, devising the strategy that led to the ultimate defeat and imprisonment of Exar Kun's malevolent spirit. Her exceptional leadership and profound wisdom eventually elevated her to the revered position of Grandmaster of the Jedi Order, a mantle of immense responsibility and profound respect which she honorably bore for the remainder of her remarkably impactful life. Although the echoes of that initial terrifying surge of power never entirely faded from her memory, they remained as a constant reminder of the darkness she had once embraced and ultimately transcended. While Nomi eventually confronted her initial apprehension and became a frequent, if not instinctively natural, user of the lightsaber after the eruption of war, her blade work never quite matched the dazzling finesse of the most acrobatic duelist among the Jedi. For Nomi, however, this was of little consequence. Her true mastery and comfort lay in the ethereal dance of the Force, where her power surged with unparalleled might when confronting the corrupting influence of Dark Jedi and the malevolent might of the Sith. Indeed, the very wellspring of Nomi's formidable raw power could be traced directly to her enigmatic master, Thon. Thon, a being of an ancient quadrupedal species with an almost primal grace, lived as a reclusive hermit, his existence shrouded in the mists of forgotten lore. He was a repository of esoteric knowledge, particularly regarding the profound intricacies of the light side, secrets even the venerable Jedi Council had failed to fully grasp. His singular renown, however, stemmed from his extraordinary command over Force light. A breathtaking demonstration of this ability saw him meticulously ensnare and ultimately seal a virulent Sith curse within the tranquil depths of a lake on Ambria, transforming a festering blight into a contained, inert menace. This unparalleled talent would prove pivotal to the unfolding narrative, for it was this very power he painstakingly imparted to Nomi, who, in turn, refined and established it as the signature ability defining her legendary path. Yet, before we delve further into the profound legacy of that power, it is imperative to first illuminate some of Nomi's most significant achievements. Though her list of accomplishments might not rival the millennium-spanning sagas attributed to a figure like Grandmaster Yoda, each of Nomi's feats stands as a powerful, resonant testament to her unparalleled spirit, the depth of her compassion, and the unwavering strength of her connection to the living Force. Her inherent connection to the light side of the Force was as profound and undeniable as the insidious pull the dark side exerted on others. Nomi Sunrider stood as a testament to this truth, etched into the annals of galactic history as perhaps the most innately gifted light side wielder ever known. Her prowess was so formidable, so utterly disruptive to the machinations of evil, that she was often spoken of as a living nightmare for any ambitious modern Sith Lord. While she demonstrated competent command over telekinesis, able to subtly manipulate her environment, and could deftly parry energy attacks with the esoteric art of Tudominus, deflecting blaster bolts with a mere thought, Nomi's true power blossomed within the intricate theater of the mind. Her mastery of battle meditation was legendary. She could weave the consciousness of hundreds, even thousands of Jedi into a single, cohesive tapestry of shared purpose and unwavering resolve, transforming a disparate legion into a perfectly synchronized fighting machine. Yet, when turned upon her adversaries, this same mental artistry became a devastating weapon, plunging their ranks into a disorienting chaos, eroding their will, and even compelling them to turn their blades upon their own, dissolving their cohesion into fratricidal madness. Her mental fortitude was such that she could pierce through and utterly shatter the most potent of Sith sorceries, a feat vividly exemplified when she broke the insidious spell that bound the feral Hiss creatures and their dark acolyte handlers. This remarkable ability to sever the tendrils of darkside influence was not an isolated incident. Indeed, it was a recurring theme in her distinguished career. There was once a dark Jedi, a particularly virulent agent of chaos, whose mind had been thoroughly warped by years of Sith manipulation. But Nomi, with an intense application of her unique mental fortitude, was able to penetrate his fractured psyche, not only unraveling the dark programming, but, for a brief, startling moment, even offering a glimpse of redemption to a soul long thought lost to the abyss, a testament to the sheer, unyielding purity of her light side dominion. The formidable sorceress, Alima Keto, was a master of psychological warfare, leveraging dark Sith secrets within her potent battle meditation to conjure colossal, terrifying illusions across the cosmic battlefields. With a flick of her will, she could render Exar Kun's Warfleet utterly invisible to sensors and sight, or conversely, expand its phantom presence into an apocalyptic armada far vaster than reality. Her most chilling tactic involved fabricating monstrous chimeras of pure nightmare, grotesque leviathans of shadow and dread that manifested directly within the perceptions of opposing pilots, sowing such abject terror that their starfighters would violently pitch and spin into chaotic disarray, often to their destruction. This uncanny ability frequently guaranteed swift and decisive victories for the Sith Lord. However, when her insidious will clashed with the unwavering resolve of Jedi Master Nomi Sunrider, the tides of illusion began to recede. Nomi, with her own profound command of battle meditation, instantly perceived the true nature of Alima's grand deceptions, seeing through the intricate web of fabricated dread as mere ephemeral phantoms. With a surge of focused will, she utterly shattered Alima's constructs, dissolving the monstrous apparitions into nothingness. Yet, Nomi's counterattack didn't cease there. She then turned the full penetrating might of the Force upon Alima's very mind, executing the devastating ability known as Mind Shard. This was no mere telepathic probe. It was depicted as searing fingers of bright force energy that plunged relentlessly into Alima's inner sanctum, lacerating her deepest thoughts, tearing apart the very fabric of her consciousness with surgical precision. But even this brutal mental assault was a precursor to Nomi Sunrider's ultimate, most celebrated power, Force Light, often called the Wall of Light. This was an ancient and supremely potent Jedi secret, a radiant bulwark against the darkness, mastered by only a precious few across millennia. Its inherent properties were vast and multifaceted, not always confined to simple definitions or easily understood applications, capable of purifying the very essence of the dark side itself, its radiant purity a stark contrast to the shadowy machinations it so effortlessly opposed. The Wall of Light, while deceptively straightforward in principle, stood as one of the most profoundly potent and awe-inspiring abilities in the annals of Jedi lore, mastered by an exceptionally rare few with unparalleled spiritual fortitude. This sacred technique involved conjuring the purest, most concentrated essence of the light side of the Force, a radiant, unyielding torrent that acted as an infallible counter to the insidious corruption of the dark, demonstrating a flawless success rate. Revered by many as the single most powerful light side weapon ever conceived, its power was absolute, capable of either utterly containing the encroaching shadow or annihilating it completely. Illustrious Jedi Masters like Arca Jeth harnessed this incredible force to purify the entire planet of Ambria from the suffocating grasp of Freedon Nad's dark influence, famously trapping his malevolent spirit within a sarcophagus. Similarly, the enigmatic Master Thon expertly deployed it to seal an ancient Sith curse within the depths of a secluded lake. Yet, it was the burgeoning power of Nomi Sunrider that would elevate the Wall of Light to truly legendary status. She would, in time, utilize its pristine energies to freeze and ensnare Ulic Qel-Droma in a profound stasis of pure light, a precursor to her later, even grander feat of combining the collective might of the Jedi Order to form a colossal wall of light that would eternally imprison Exar Kun's spirit within his own temple. However, perhaps her most infamous and uniquely applied demonstration of this extraordinary ability unfolded in a desperate confrontation with the very same Ulic Qel-Droma, a moment that would forever reshape their intertwined destinies. Ulic Qel-Droma, once a luminous beacon within the Jedi Order, had tragically become the object of Nomi Sunrider's profound and ultimately heartbreaking affection. Their bond, once promising a shared future of light, was shattered when the insidious venom of the dark side, brought forth by a heinous poisoning, twisted his very essence. He succumbed to the sinister influence, abandoning his Jedi vows to embrace the shadows as Exar Kun's zealous, ruthless apprentice. Despite his catastrophic fall, Nomi's love remained fierce and unwavering, a shield against the accusations of the High Council. She tirelessly championed his lost goodness, even collaborating with Ulic's steadfast brother Kay in numerous desperate bids to coax him back from the precipice of his damnation. Their efforts, however, were brutally extinguished amidst the cataclysmic sacking of Ossus, a day forever seared into Nomi's memory. In a harrowing display of unbridled rage, Ulic, consumed by the dark side, mercilessly cut down his own brother. Witnessing this fratricidal horror unfold, Nomi was utterly overwhelmed by a tempest of anguish and despair. Yet, in that same moment of profound evil, a flicker of his former self briefly pierced Ulic's corrupted consciousness. As he cradled Kay's lifeless form, a raw, gut-wrenching grief washed over him, leaving him momentarily vulnerable, stripped of his dark side defenses. It was then, in her own shattering despair, that Nomi channeled the purest anguish and a fierce, protective instinct into an ancient and rarely used technique, the Force Light. She projected this devastating surge of pure energy directly into Ulic's core, a blinding, internal supernova that severed his connection to the Force itself, rendering him utterly incapable of sensing its presence or wielding its power ever again. This drastic, irreversible act, born of a flash of desperate emotion, became a gnawing regret for Nomi. Despite the profound immediate relief it brought, she was utterly lost on how to undo it. For the secrets of Force Light were known to so few, a profound and perilous knowledge entrusted only to masters like Odan who had tragically perished by Exar Kun's hand. One thing was abundantly clear: the reverberations of that moment would forever define Nomi's life, casting a long, mournful shadow over her very soul, and profoundly altering the trajectory of the Jedi Order itself. It is, however, vital to dispel a pervasive and common misconception that Nomi Sunrider irrevocably stripped Ulic Qel-Droma of his Force abilities with the same annihilating finality witnessed when Sith Lords like Nihilus or Scion brutally tore the Force from Crate. This is not the truth of the matter. Nomi's profound intervention was, in essence, a sophisticated and deliberate blockage, an act of blinding Ulic to the Force's omnipresent flow rather than severing his intrinsic connection entirely. This crucial distinction changes the interpretation of her act dramatically. Indeed, this was underlined powerfully by the Redemption comics, which revealed Ulic's poignant, if brief, reunion with the Force in his very last moments of life. That revelation stands as a testament to the temporary nature of Nomi's technique. It was not an eternal destruction of Ulic's ability, but rather a profound suppression born of anguish and light. This extraordinary ability, nonetheless, defines the pinnacle of Nomi Sunrider's legendary powers and incredible feats, cementing her reputation as the woman widely lauded and often vigorously debated as the strongest Jedi Grandmaster in recorded history. Her unparalleled might is undeniable, a potent fusion of an almost primal inherent talent for the Force, meticulously cultivated and sharpened through rigorous training by some of the most venerated and ancient Jedi Masters, propelled her to become, without question, the preeminent Force wielder of her era. This was a fact readily acknowledged and respected by her contemporaries. Yet, her towering eminence inevitably brings us to the heart of our original, compelling inquiry. Could her formidable power truly surpass that of the venerable Grandmaster Yoda? At first glance, the sheer breadth of her achievements and the unique potency of her spiritual abilities might sway many to declare her the superior. Indeed, had Nomi Sunrider been entrusted with the mantle of Grandmaster during the tumultuous twilight of the Galactic Republic, confronting the insidious rise of the Sith and the galaxy-spanning conflict of the Clone Wars, her unparalleled capacity for severing or profoundly inhibiting a being's connection to the Force could have presented a profoundly different strategic landscape. This singular ability might have offered a decisive method for neutralizing threats that even Yoda, for all his unmatched wisdom and mastery, might not have directly wielded with such focused, spiritual impact against the deepest darkness. Had Nomi Sunrider been an active participant in the unfolding saga of the Clone Wars, the galaxy's fate might have been dramatically altered, with the conflict brought to a swift and decisive end. Indeed, her very presence would have embodied Grandmaster Sidious's most profound and existential nightmare. Her unparalleled capacity to unravel the most intricate Sith curses and systematically override the tendrils of dark side powers, with nothing more than the focused might of her mind and an unyielding will, would render her an absolutely terrifying figure to any practitioner of the Shadow, most notably the entrenched Sith Lords. Furthermore, her legendary Wall of Light ability, a radiant, impenetrable bastion of benevolent energy, would undoubtedly send the fearsome Night Sisters of Dathomir scattering in chaotic retreat, their dark magics rendered impotent against such an overwhelming display of pure force. This assessment, however, doesn't inherently declare her as wielding greater raw strength than Master Yoda. Rather, it underscores that Nomi possessed a far more expansive and archaic understanding of the Force, drawing upon forgotten knowledge to which he simply did not have access. Herein lies the critical distinction. Within the Jedi philosophy, knowledge is unequivocally power. The deeper one's comprehension of the Force's intricacies, the greater their ability to subtly manipulate its currents and orchestrate events. In this specific manner, through her profound command of ancient secrets, Nomi could be considered more powerful than Yoda. Yet, when one contemplates the sheer, unbridled force potential and innate cosmic connection, we have seen no evidence to suggest Nomi's inherent might eclipses that of Yoda's. If anything, their intrinsic capacities might well be in perfect equilibrium, or perhaps Yoda's raw potential could even be the greater. The fundamental divergence between these two titans of the light side, therefore, rests squarely on Nomi's intimate familiarity with ancient Jedi lore and her mastery of secrets long since faded from the common memory of the Order, a repository of wisdom far beyond even Yoda's vast experience. Nomi had not only lashed out in unbridled rage, momentarily severing an adversary's connection to the Force, but had also, at critical junctures, allowed her own potent emotions to completely blindside her, jeopardizing her disciplined training and the very spiritual equilibrium she diligently cultivated. This inherent vulnerability, a shadow lurking beneath her formidable power, rendered her theoretical participation in a conflict like the Clone Wars a purely academic exercise, for the risk of her profound feelings overwhelming her tactical judgment was a constant, undeniable factor. Yet, her unique mastery was undeniable, forged under the tutelage of two unparalleled masters. Master Thon, a luminary whose comprehension of the light side was whispered to eclipse even the collective wisdom of the Jedi Council, and Master Odin the venerable archivist of the Great Library, whose centuries of existence endowed him with an unparalleled repository of ancient lore. It was from these two sages that Nomi received secrets of the Force, esoteric knowledge shared with no other, directly paving her path to becoming Grandmaster. The subsequent, cataclysmic destruction of Ossus then represented an immeasurable and irreplaceable void in Jedi knowledge, extinguishing countless light side abilities and ancient teachings that Nomi, almost uniquely, still retained within her profound understanding abilities that even the formidable Yoda, had circumstances been different, could undoubtedly have assimilated and mastered. This tragic historical chasm, however, meant Yoda was forever denied access to these specific dimensions of the Force. Consequently, any definitive comparison of their raw power or total mastery becomes fraught with difficulty, hampered by the unfortunate scarcity of recorded feats from Nomi Sunrider that truly encapsulate the full breadth and depth of her extraordinary, albeit emotionally complex, command of the Force. Her initial reluctance to wield the Force due to profound grief became a pattern, manifesting in many similar emotionally driven decisions even after she ascended to the revered rank of Grandmaster. The specter of Ulic Qel-Droma, her lost love, clung to her like a shroud. She carried not merely his memory, but tangible holographic vestiges of him and their life. Their shimmering images, her constant, silent companions. It was a stark testament to a grief she could never fully release, a sorrow that followed her even into her highest station. Though undeniably puissant in the Force, her immense capabilities were frequently overshadowed by a pervasive sense of helplessness, a sorrowful shadow dimming the resolute strength expected of a leader. This contrasted sharply with the unwavering pillar of conviction embodied by her contemporary in our comparison. Grandmaster Yoda, by all accounts, stood as a vastly superior beacon of leadership. While even he was not immune to the subtle corruptions of institutional arrogance or the ossifying grip of ancient dogma, his paramount decisions were, more often than not, forged in the crucible of profound wisdom and an unclouded intellect. Even when faced with contentious proposals, such as Obi-Wan Kenobi's insistence on training the young Anakin Skywalker, Yoda would meticulously dissect every facet of the issue, weighing all potential angles and outcomes, ultimately ruling with an eye toward the broader good and the collective welfare, rather than personal sentiment. This ability to separate emotion from judgment marked a critical difference between the two Grandmasters. Nomi's compassion and humanity were profound strengths but also vulnerabilities that could cloud her clarity, while Yoda's discipline and perspective, cultivated over 9 centuries, ensured his leadership endured amid constant turmoil. Indeed, we have previously reflected upon the almost insurmountably stacked odds that fate presented to Yoda in his era. At least Nomi Sunrider confronted a tangible, visible adversary in Exar Kun and his Sith forces. Yoda, however, grappled with an insidious, unseen darkness that cloaked itself behind the Republic's very institutions, a tendril reaching from the shadows of the unknown. To lead under such conditions required a patience and foresight that few could muster, even among the Jedi. Thus, when evaluating their inherent potential and leadership capacities, Nomi Sunrider undeniably stands as a formidable counterpart to the revered Grandmaster, possessing a Force affinity that could rival legends. But she was also an inherently human figure whose profound personal suffering, though a source of her unique insights, ultimately tempered the unyielding clarity required to guide an entire order through its darkest hour. Thus, my fellow enthusiasts of the Force, we arrive at the heart of our inquiry. How do you weigh the raw power and spiritual depth of Nomi Sunrider, renowned for her unparalleled battle meditation and profound connection to the light, against the ancient, boundless wisdom and mastery of the living Force embodied by Grandmaster Yoda? Their legacies stand as pillars of different eras, forged under distinct trials, yet united by the same eternal struggle against the shadow. The very fabric of time seems to bend as we contemplate whether Nomi, with her unique ability to sever Force connections, might have possessed the singular capability to unravel Darth Sidious's insidious plot and prevent the Republic's tragic fall during the Clone Wars. Could her mastery of the ancient light side have changed the destiny of the galaxy itself? Or was Yoda's unmatched patience, tempered wisdom, and 9 centuries of discipline the irreplaceable bulwark that the Order required in its waning days? Share your insights into Nomi Sunrider's most legendary feats and imagine how her presence might have reshaped galactic history. Would Sidious have crumbled before her radiant wall of light? Would her compassion have saved Anakin Skywalker from his fateful fall? Or would her emotional vulnerabilities have doomed the Order just as surely? It is these vibrant, thought-provoking discussions that truly enrich our shared journey through this magnificent universe. As always, my profound gratitude extends to each of you for your continued engagement and steadfast support of this channel. May the boundless, guiding energy of the Force forever be with you on your path, and may our debates within the hallowed halls of the archives keep alive the timeless flame of wisdom, curiosity, and devotion to the light.